Every day is indeed a gift, but here's the catch. Gifts are meant to be unwrapped, examined, appreciated, and used. Most people treat their days like unopened presents sitting under a tree, never bothering to see what treasures lie within. They sleepwalk through their existence, waiting for someday, waiting for retirement, waiting for the weekend, waiting for conditions to be just right. My friends, while you're waiting, life is happening. While you're waiting, your gift is being wasted. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. If someone gave you $86,400 every single day, no strings attached, but told you that whatever you don't use by the end of the day disappears forever, would you waste even $1? Of course not. You'd find a way to invest every single penny to make it count, to ensure that none of it goes to waste. Well, guess what? Every day you receive 86,400 seconds. Every morning your account is filled with this precious currency called time. And unlike money, you can't save it, you can't store it, you can't accumulate it. You can only spend it. The question is, are you spending it wisely, or are you letting it slip through your fingers like sand? This is where purpose comes in, and purpose, my friends, is not something you find lying around like a lost wallet. Purpose is something you create, something you develop, something you cultivate with the same care and attention that a gardener gives to prize-winning roses. Purpose gives meaning to those 86,400 seconds. Purpose transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities. Purpose takes the mundane and makes it magnificent. But here's what most people don't understand about purpose. It doesn't have to be grandiose to be powerful. You don't need to cure cancer or end world hunger to have purpose, though if that's your calling, more power to you. Purpose can be as simple as being the best parent you can be, creating beautiful art, serving your customers with excellence, or brightening someone's day with a genuine smile and kind word. The size of your purpose isn't what matters, it's the sincerity with which you pursue it. I've met people who think their jobs are meaningless, their lives are pointless, their contributions don't matter. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. There are no meaningless jobs, only people who haven't discovered the meaning in their work. The janitor who takes pride in creating clean, safe environments for others is fulfilling a noble purpose. The teacher who inspires even one student to reach higher is changing the world. The cashier who treats every customer with respect and courtesy is spreading dignity and kindness. The mechanic who ensures vehicles are safe and reliable is protecting families. Every honest job, every sincere effort, every act of service has the potential to be purposeful if you approach it with the right mindset. The challenge is that we've been conditioned to think small, to minimize our impact, to believe that we're just tiny specks in a vast universe. But here's a truth that will revolutionize your thinking if you let it. You are not a tiny speck. You are unique, irreplaceable, one-of-a-kind miracle with talents, experiences, perspectives, and potential that have never existed before and will never exist again. The combination of your DNA, your experiences, your thoughts, your dreams, your struggles, and your victories create something absolutely unique in the history of humanity. That's not coincidence, that's purpose waiting to be discovered and expressed. Now let's talk about the practical side of waking up with purpose, because philosophy without application is just intellectual entertainment. When you open your eyes each morning, instead of reaching for your phone to check messages or social media, try something revolutionary. Take 60 seconds to appreciate the gift of another day. Feel your heartbeat. Take a deep breath. Think about one thing you're grateful for. This simple practice begins to shift your entire perspective from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to gratitude, from victim to victor. After those 60 seconds of gratitude, ask yourself this powerful question: how can I make today count? Not what do I have to do today, but how can I make today count? This subtle shift in language creates a massive shift in perspective. Instead of approaching your day as a series of obligations and chores, you begin to see it as a canvas for creating something meaningful, something worthwhile, something that reflects your values and serves your purpose. Here's something else I want you to understand. Purpose isn't a destination you arrive at once and then you're done. Purpose is a journey, a process, an evolving understanding of who you are and what you're capable of contributing to the world. What gives your life meaning today might be different from what gave it meaning 5 years ago, and that's perfectly fine. Growth and change are natural parts of the human experience. The key is to remain curious, remain open, and remain committed to living intentionally rather than accidentally. I've noticed that people who live with purpose share certain characteristics. They're not necessarily happier all the time. Life still presents challenges and difficulties, but they're more resilient. They bounce back faster from setbacks because they have something larger than themselves pulling them forward. They don't waste time on petty grievances or minor inconveniences because they're focused on bigger things. They don't get caught up in gossip or drama because they're too busy building something meaningful. They don't spend hours mindlessly scrolling through social media because they're too engaged in their own lives to worry about everyone else's highlight reels. These purposeful people understand something that escapes the majority. Every choice matters. Every decision, no matter how small, is either moving you toward your purpose or away from it. The choice to get up when the alarm sounds instead of hitting snooze. The choice to eat something nourishing instead of something convenient. The choice to speak encouragingly to yourself instead of critically. The choice to approach your work with excellence instead of mediocrity. The choice to be fully present with your family instead of distracted by devices. These might seem like small choices, but they compound over time into the quality and direction of your entire life. Let me share with you one of the most liberating truths I've ever discovered. You don't have to have your entire life figured out to start living with purpose. You don't need a 10-year plan, a detailed roadmap, or perfect clarity about your ultimate destination. All you need is enough light to take the next step. Purpose is not about having all the answers, it's about asking better questions. Instead of asking, what's the meaning of life? Ask, what's the meaning of my life today? Instead of asking, what's my ultimate purpose? Ask, how can I serve and contribute right now with what I have, where I am? This brings me to another crucial point. Purpose is not just about what you do, it's about who you become in the process of doing it. Every challenge you face with courage makes you more courageous. Every problem you solve with creativity makes you more creative. Every person you help with compassion makes you more compassionate. Every goal you pursue with persistence makes you more persistent. The external achievements and accomplishments are wonderful, but the internal growth and development are priceless. You are becoming someone different, someone better, someone more capable and more valuable every time you choose to live purposefully. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, this all sounds great, Jim, but my life is complicated. I have bills to pay, responsibilities to meet, people depending on me. I can't just chase my dreams and follow my bliss. And you're absolutely right. Life is complicated and responsibilities are real. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to choose between being responsible and being purposeful. In fact, the most responsible thing you can do is to approach your responsibilities with purpose. When you pay your bills, you're not just meeting obligations. You're honoring your commitments, maintaining your integrity, and providing security for yourself and your family. When you care for others, you're not just fulfilling duties. You're expressing love, creating bonds, and making a difference in lives that matter to you. The secret is to bring intention and excellence to whatever you're already doing while keeping your eyes open for opportunities to align your life more closely with your deeper purposes. Maybe you can't quit your job tomorrow to become an artist, but you can bring creativity and artistry to your current work. Maybe you can't travel the world as a missionary, but you can serve and help people in your own community. Maybe you can't start a business right now, but you can develop an entrepreneurial mindset and begin building valuable skills and relationships. This is what I call purposeful living within practical constraints. It's about making the most of where you are while moving toward where you want to be. It's about being fully present and engaged in your current circumstances while maintaining a vision for your future growth and contribution. It's about understanding that every season of life has its own purposes and opportunities, and none of them are wasted if you approach them with the right attitude. Speaking of seasons, let me address something that troubles many people, the fear that they've wasted too much time, that it's too late to start living with purpose, that their best years are behind them. My friends, this is one of those destructive lies you can believe. As long as you're breathing, as long as your heart is beating, as long as your mind is functioning, it's not too late. Some of the most meaningful contributions in history have been made by people who didn't discover their true purpose until later in life. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was 78. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken. Laura Ingalls Wilder didn't publish her first Little House book until she was 65. But even if you never become famous or create something that the whole world recognizes, that doesn't diminish the importance of living purposely. The teacher who inspires students, the parent who raises good children, the friend who provides support and encouragement, the employee who serves customers with excellence, the volunteer who helps in the community. These contributions might not make headlines, but they make life better for real people in real ways. And that, my friends, is purpose enough for anyone. Here's another truth that will serve you well. Purpose doesn't always feel comfortable. In fact, living with purpose often requires you to do things that are challenging, scary, or unfamiliar. It requires you to grow beyond your current limitations, to develop new skills, to take calculated risks, to face uncertainty with faith and determination. Comfort and purpose are often incompatible. If you're too comfortable, you're probably not growing. If you're not growing, you're not fully utilizing the gift of your life. This doesn't mean you should be reckless or make foolish decisions. It means you should be willing to stretch yourself, to attempt things that matter to you, even if you're not guaranteed to succeed, to invest in your growth and development even when it requires sacrifice and effort. Every person who has made a meaningful contribution to the world has had to move beyond their comfort zone repeatedly. Every person who has discovered and expressed their true purpose has had to face fears, overcome obstacles, and persist through difficulties. But here's the beautiful paradox. While living with purpose often requires you to do uncomfortable things, it ultimately leads to a much deeper and more lasting satisfaction than a life spent purely in pursuit of comfort. When you know that your efforts matter, that your work serves something beyond yourself, that your life is making a positive difference, you can endure temporary discomfort with a sense of meaning and hope. When you're just trying to be comfortable, every small inconvenience becomes a major problem. When you're living with purpose, you can handle significant challenges because you understand why they're worth facing. Let me tell you about the difference between motivation and purpose, because many people confuse the two. Motivation is what gets you started. Purpose is what keeps you going. Motivation is emotional and temporary. Purpose is deeper and more enduring. Motivation depends on how you feel. Purpose transcends your feelings and operates at the level of your values and commitments. You can be motivated by external rewards, but true purpose comes from internal conviction. You can lose motivation and find it again, but once you discover your purpose, it becomes part of who you are. This is why it's so important to base your daily actions on purpose rather than just motivation or mood. There will be days when you don't feel like doing what needs to be done. There will be mornings when you don't want to get up, times when you don't feel like working hard, moments when you'd rather quit than continue. On these days, motivation might fail you, but purpose will sustain you. When you remember why you're doing what you're doing, when you connect your daily actions to your deeper purposes, you find the strength to persevere, even when it's difficult. Now, let's talk about something that often prevents people from living with purpose: the fear of what others might think. So many people dim their light, minimize their dreams, and settle for less than they're capable of because they're worried about criticism, judgment, or rejection from others. They're afraid of being seen as different, ambitious, or unrealistic. They'd rather blend in with the crowd than stand out and risk disapproval. Here's what I want you to understand: the people who criticize you for trying to live with purpose, usually the ones who have given up on their own purposes. The people who mock your dreams are typically the ones who have abandoned their own dreams. The people who try to discourage you from growing and improving are often the ones who have stopped growing and improving themselves. Don't let other people's limitations become your limitations. Don't let other people's fears become your fears. Don't let other people's mediocrity become your ceiling. Instead, surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and support your growth. Seek out mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. Find friends who share your values and encourage your purposes. Join communities of people who are committed to making a positive difference. Read books by people who have overcome obstacles similar to yours. Listen to speakers who can expand your thinking and strengthen your resolve. The people you spend time with and the information you consume have a profound impact on your mindset, your attitudes, and your actions. Choose them wisely. This brings me to another crucial aspect of purposeful living, the importance of continuous learning and growth. Your purposes will evolve as you grow, and your ability to fulfill your purposes will expand as you develop new knowledge, skills, and capabilities. The person who stops learning stops growing, and the person who stops growing starts dying, not physically necessarily, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Make learning a lifelong habit. Read books that challenge your thinking and expand your knowledge. Take courses that develop your skills and open new possibilities. Attend seminars and workshops that expose you to new ideas and connect you with like-minded people. Travel when you can, because experiencing different cultures and perspectives broadens your understanding of the world and your place in it. Ask questions, stay curious, remain open to new information and different viewpoints. But don't just consume information, apply what you learn. Knowledge without application is useless. Take what you learn and put it into practice in your daily life. Test new ideas, experiment with different approaches, implement better systems and habits. The goal is not to become a repository of information, but to become a more effective, more capable, more valuable person who can make a greater contribution to the world. Speaking of contribution, let me address something that holds many people back from living with purpose: the belief that they don't have anything valuable to offer. This is perhaps the most tragic misunderstanding I encounter. Every person has something unique and valuable to contribute. Every person has experiences, insights, talents, and perspectives that can help others and make the world a little bit better. Maybe you've overcome a difficult challenge that someone else is currently facing, and your story could provide hope and guidance. Maybe you've developed a skill that you take for granted but that others would find valuable. Maybe you have a way of explaining things that helps people understand complex concepts. Maybe you have a gift for making people feel comfortable and accepted. Maybe you're naturally good at organizing, problem solving, creating, or encouraging. The key is to stop focusing on what you don't have and start appreciating what you do have. Stop comparing your inside to everyone else's outside. Stop assuming that everyone else has it figured out while you're stumbling around in the dark. Most people are dealing with their own uncertainties, fears, and challenges. Most people are looking for the same things you are: meaning, connection, contribution, and hope. When you start from a place of appreciation for what you already have and who you already are, you create a foundation for purposeful living. When you recognize that your life experiences, both positive and negative, have prepared you to help others in unique ways, you begin to see possibilities for contribution that you might have overlooked. When you understand that perfection is not required for service, that you don't have to have all the answers to ask good questions, that you don't have to be completely healed to help others heal, you open yourself to opportunities for meaningful engagement with the world around you. This leads to an important distinction. Living with purpose is not about being perfect. It's about being authentic and committed. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about being honest about what you're learning. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about learning from your mistakes and helping others avoid similar pitfalls. It's not about being better than everyone else. It's about being better than you used to be and helping others do the same. Authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are genuine, honest about their struggles, and transparent about their journey. They can relate to your humanity, learn from your experiences, and be inspired by your commitment to growth and contribution. Perfection, on the other hand, is intimidating and unrelatable. People can't learn from someone who pretends to have never struggled, never failed, never doubted, never faced challenges. So embrace your humanity while pursuing your purposes. Be honest about your limitations while working to overcome them. Share your struggles while celebrating your progress. Help others while continuing to grow yourself. This balanced approach makes you both effective and relatable, both inspiring and approachable, both confident and humble. Now, let me share something that can dramatically accelerate your ability to live with purpose: the power of service. When you shift your focus from what can I get to what can I give, everything changes. When you ask, how can I serve, instead of how can I be served, you open yourself to opportunities and possibilities that were invisible before. When you approach your relationships, your work, and your community with a service mindset, you discover purposes you never knew existed. Service doesn't always mean grand gestures or major sacrifices. Sometimes the service is listening to someone who needs to be heard. Sometimes it's doing excellent work when no one is watching. Sometimes it's being patient with someone who's having a difficult day. Sometimes it's sharing knowledge that can help someone solve a problem. Sometimes it's simply showing up consistently and reliably when others are counting on you. The beautiful thing about service is that it benefits both the giver and the receiver. When you serve others, you feel useful, valuable, and connected. You experience the satisfaction that comes from making a positive difference in someone else's life. You develop empathy, compassion, and understanding. You build relationships based on contribution rather than just consumption. You create a legacy of impact that extends far beyond your own immediate needs and desires. Service also has a way of revealing purposes you might not have discovered otherwise. As you help others, you begin to notice patterns in the kinds of help you're drawn to provide, the types of people you're naturally able to assist, the problems you're particularly good at solving. These patterns often point toward deeper purposes that can guide your career choices, your volunteer activities, and your personal development priorities. But here's something crucial to understand about service. It must be sustainable to be meaningful. You can't serve others effectively if you're not taking care of yourself. You can't give what you don't have. This means that living with purpose requires you to invest in your own health, growth, and well-being, not as selfish indulgences, but as necessary preparations for service. You need physical energy to serve others. You need emotional stability to help others through their challenges. You need mental clarity to provide good advice and make wise decisions. You need spiritual strength to persist through difficulties and maintain hope during dark times. This is why purposeful living involves a balanced approach to personal development and service to others. You're not just growing for your own sake, and you're not just serving others at the expense of your own well-being. You're developing yourself so you can serve more effectively